This is dragon's blood. Isn't that cool? That is the pitch of a very, very specific tree. I'm Eric Hollenbeck. Welcome to Tales from the Ox. This is my little cubby hole. This is my little sanctuary. Nobody can bug me up here. Even Viviana doesn't come up and ask what I'm doing. She doesn't want to know. This is the Apothecary. And maybe this is a little window into my brain, into how I think. Not a big window, but it's a little window. So I'm up here trying different stuff, seeing what I can do with it. Because I try and tell the students that you don't got to have a whole bunch of money to start a business. You don't have to. We didn't. You can do it. The Egyptians were doing ceramics. Oh, heck. Long before the Egyptians, we were doing ceramics. So you don't need to buy clay and you don't need to buy. You can figure out how do you do for yourself. Same thing with woodworking. Same thing with all of it. Metallurgy started someplace. They started melting down red dirt, which is iron oxide. So this is my experimental place. I get to come up here and just try stuff, So I've got right here iron oxide. See how red it is? Now you could, by the way, I smuggled this in from Mexico. Don't tell nobody. It was 25 years ago. Maybe the statute of limitations is over. But I can grind this up, see, on a piece of glass with a muller. That's a flat piece of glass, dead flat piece of glass. And I can grind with a carrier. And in my case, I like shellac. Grind. And make up a stain. So this is dragon's blood. Can you see that? Isn't that cool? That is the pitch of a very, very specific tree on a very specific island. I started this because when I was growing up, in the antique stores were furniture from the Orient. And there used to be real red lacquered furniture, black lacquered furniture. I thought iron oxide, that's what you use. Well, it wasn't. It comes out kind of like a redwood red after it's been exposed to the sunlight. Kind of a brownish, little hued red. And then a book called La Brea del Arte. It was written, I believe, in the 1200s, 1300s. And the guy was a painter. He did painting and frescoes and stuff like that for churches. And in La Brea del Arte, my translation, it was written in some other language, but my translation was 1901 by a university back east. And they translated it. And I bumped into it. And Took a long time, but I read the whole thing. And he tells how he made his own brushes, how he made his own pigments, from the pigments, how he made his own paint, how he made his own fresco paint out of egg. He goes into all of it. You guys want to hear an unbelievable story? In the 1200s, there is one color. In my mind, it's madder red. I'm not sure of the name, but there was a color. And instead of going into detail how to make it, he said, it's too dang hard. You can't do it. Go to the monks. They're the only ones who can do it. Buy it from the monks. That was his whole explanation about this one color. I found that most interesting. Another thing that got me going on this, what I do up here, my experimentation is Stradivarius violins. I got to tell you, we have detailed records of the trees that he used. He wrote all this down. The time of year he cut the tree down, the time of year that he sawed the material out of it to make the violins, the kind of tree, the size of the tree, the growth rings, and the growth rings, of course, we can count in the wood. We have taken soundings, microscopic imprints of all of the thicknesses in that whole violin. We absolutely know how to make a Stradivarius violin. Hands down, we know how to do that. And we can't make one that sounds that way. Why not? Because one thing was lost. One thing he didn't tell was how he made his varnish. And he wouldn't sell the violin for 6 months. For 6 months, nobody could even look at it. He created a varnish and that varnish, as it dried, we know this, cracked into billions and billions of little tiny microscopic cracks. It looks fully varnished to our eye, but there are billions of little tiny cracks in there. And what happens is as the sound wave is coming through the wood and coming out, those little cracks bounce the sound wave back and forth, and the harshness is taken out of them in that bounce. And that was his secret. And that secret died with him. So that's the story I heard. So I figured, well, if you found the secret, why couldn't I find the secret? And that's why I have tried to, that's why I set this up. And I've tried different things. By the way, the red for the furniture was actually made from this one right here. Oh, come on, old girl. And this is Cinnabar. And Cinnabar is, see, it's deadly. See, I got my little, that tells you deadly. That's my little gizmo. And it is mercury in a crystalline form. So this is ground really fine cinnabar. This is where, and then they would mix this with their varnish. And I have done that and mixed it with shellac. Great results. Unbelievable results. I have to put that back here, even though, move the rock, shove this up a little bit. See, because we get earthquakes, I have to put these up. Here's their black. This is what they got their black from. This is lamp black. Meaning this is pure carbon. 100% pure carbon. And that's where inks come from. Nah, not all of them. Another ink can come from this one right here. These are oak galls. We have oak trees up on Neelan, and there's a wasp, and she lays her egg on the side of the tree, on the limbs, but she also does something to aggravate the cells in the limbs. And the cells in the limbs create these galls. They're really, really light when they're done. And that's where the eggs incubate in. Well, you can take these oak galls and mix them with iron oxide, which is rust, and water, and it creates a perfect black ink. I have a really special one. That's Spanish moss. Oh, look at these two. So one time, on the sawmill, I was cutting a redwood, and all of a sudden I ran into a pitch pocket. Redwoods don't have pitch pockets. Very, 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 very seldom do you hit a pitch pocket in redwood. Most other trees have tons of pitch pockets. It's not a uncommon occurrence, but in redwood it was. And I immediately emptied my coffee cup out and started scraping the pitch pocket into my coffee cup. I had to run in, still running out of the log. I had to run in here, get 2 more coffee cups. And this is cold run, meaning this is straight out of the tree. No turpentine, no nothing in it. This is the, oh no, I did too. I diluted this with turpentine. I'm sorry, that's why it's so runny. This is the hot run, which means that once I cut the board, I cut those little strips out, and then how'd I heat them to get the red to extract? Oh, I think I heated the turpentine and poured the hot turpentine on it and collected that. I think that's how I did it. I forget now. It's many years ago. This is hot run, and you can see it has a nice color to it. Can you get through the light?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's amazing.
There's a nice color to it, and the cold run, see, is a way deeper color. Isn't that incredible?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And the incredible thing to me is it doesn't happen. It just, good Lord, I've cut a lot of redwood, and I don't ever remember running into a pitch pocket like this. Here's more of that. That's that same pitch pocket. And look at, that one has no turpentine in it. See how it's like molasses? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the color in it. So next time I'm going to make me a Stradivarius violin, I'll maybe use this for my varnish. So here's what you can do with it. This was a plaque I made for the television. And this is for Viviana and I. See, for our 44th wedding anniversary. So I wanted this to be the redwood trees, and so I cut all these out of redwood, and then they needed to be trees. Put the mortises in so that they would fit tight. And these represent Carindale, and these are, this is Vivini. You see those fit into their mortises, just delightful. But then I wanted to, you know, I could have just shellacked all of it, but then you'd have a brown top tree. I wanted it different. So what I used was, and this is crazy, I used azurite, that's a blue, and Vivianite, just because it, I use malachite, no, not azurite, I use malachite. Malachite, which is copper, derivative of copper, and has a greenish hue to it. And there's a Vivianite. Where did it, and a Vivianite, which has a blue hue in this light. And I used the malachite to get the green and mix it up with and it turned out, kind of like you see turquoise. That wasn't the color of redwood. Jeez, that was silly. So they were filming and we had to do something. So I just tried some Vivianite just because it had her name in it, like Viviana. It's called Vivianite, and it turned it green. And that's the green hue that I got out of it. And this was 3 years ago, and you can plainly see it's holding up wonderful. So this is, I like to experiment. I like to try things, and to me, the world around us is this oyster. That's wrong. It's magical, and I like to see how do we use the magic we've been given. So this is what the Apothecary is, and we'll come up in later videos and do some experimenting. This is what blows my hair back, folks. Just trying different things and experimenting, and figuring out why these things work. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And you can also watch videos here and here.